Oh. Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk, and that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this year's E3. For me at least. The one that I'm not going to be streaming is the Nintendo one, which I'm just not a Nintendo fan necessarily, so I'll just be sitting there like quiet, being like, okay, for the whole time, so I'd rather not. But if you guys are new to this, we do this almost every year. We do not stream it every year though. We probably will, because it was just a blast doing that with you guys. I imagine the past broadcasts are still there if you guys want to go watch them. But yeah, it's just my dumb ass in the corner being like, this is great. This is great. So yeah. But if you guys are new to this Let's Talk kind of video that I do almost every year, because there's E3s, I'm surprised of what we. Oh, sorry, it's just a recap. It's just my recap of the games that I really wanted and the games that I'm interested in, and just fucking talking like a whirlwind about everything. It may get a bit jumbled and convoluted at times. Apologies in advance. But yeah, first of all, let's start like this. I never thought that this would be, like, we just ended Sony's press conference just now, and then I'm just going to go exercise, but I have this in a second, so I wanted to make this video. So, we just finished Sony's press conference, and for the first time ever, I think they lost. Which I'm always on the other side of the coin. You know, guys know me, I think Sony usually brings it, you know? I don't think they did this year. So I guess we could start like this. How I rate this year's E3 in every press conference, I think Bethesda, at a core, understands what, to me, is a good press conference, which is they show the game, and this is a big important thing, and they tell you why it should matter, or why you should care, or what you can potentially do in that world that is fun. You know, there's so many times where we hear that there's another Call of Duty or another Battlefield, but so many people are just like, okay, just another Battlefield, it's just another whatever, it's just another this, just another that. There's never like, hey, this is another Battlefield, and here's what's different about it, here's why you should care, here's the things that you'll be able to do in it that are fun. And I imagine you guys are going to times those times 10 because you're twice as creative as us, because most communities are fucking bonkers with their ideas. So to me, that is in essence what makes a good showcase, what a good press conference, is when you kind of meld that good balance of showing people a new game or a game that you already know of, but showing them what they could potentially do in it, and why it matters and why they should care. So to me, I think Bethesda hit all the check marks, especially Todd Howard. The conference when it started was a bit weak, a bit finicky, a bit cringe at times. But for the most part, I think as soon as Todd Howard came out, that in essence, which I hope so many people would eventually adopt, which Sony last year kind of adopted that, where they had people who explained to you this game, and then they explained the things that you could do in a tech demo, which was really cool in that game, which you could do. Anyways. So for me, it goes, Bethesda was the one who I think killed it the most. I think they did, again, like I said, not only did they show you a game, but they showed you why you should care about it. And then secondly, and I was shocked by this, Xbox. Xbox came out with fucking tons of games that I am absolutely hyped about. And that's why they won over Sony for me. As much as I think The Last of Us is a great game, I seen the trailer that they showed in their press conference, and I just kind of... I was whelmed, you know, and it's not that I don't think Ellie is an interesting character, nor do I don't love the combat in that game. It's just, to me, it didn't answer the one question that is such a pinnacle question in that game, which is, what the hell's the general story? What is this? Even this, it's the bit of the story. You know, we didn't get any of that really. And I left that video for Last of Us basically being like, to me, I got everything that I already kind of knew. Like that it's going to have elements of Last of Us 1, probably more refined. You know, I seen a lot of tech demo-y stuff where like the dude was sitting, or Ellie was waiting for like an hour when there was like 7 opportunities to kill the people for stealth kills. And I was kind of just like, fucking E3, dude. You're going to get jumped 7 different ways doing it this way. Of course, that's the demo aspect or the showcase aspect of it. But still, to me, I'm excited for the game. I don't think it's any lesser of a game. But to me, that was also a big thing. Just so in case you guys missed both conferences, Xbox had like around I don't know, like 50, 60 games, with 15 of them being pretty hefty and others being kind of like indie darling kind of things. But then Sony had 4 or 5. That's it. And it wasn't like a lot. It wasn't like, there weren't like long showcases necessarily. Yeah. Anyways, okay, let's talk. We're talking about Xbox because that's my one. The one that I am, the ones that stick with me, and I think that's what makes the conferences. I don't give a shit about console, whatever, right? I'm not. A lot of people use E3 as this console dick measuring contest, which I just don't give a shit about. I can play wherever I more or less want, because I work and I invest in games because I enjoy games. You know, some people like racing, so they buy a cool car. I'm not that guy. So I buy PS4 and I have an Xbox there that's rusty as fuck, and then I have a PC. So that's never been the thing I got from it. So I just look at the games. So for me, when I look back at Xbox's conference, I have 3 games there where I'm like, God fucking damn. One of them is Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 to me is like, it just looks awesome, amazing, because it seems like they learned from Dying Light 1 in the aspect of the story was its weakest part. So it seems like they just lessened the story and amped up your effect on the world. So that when you do something, it causes effect and change. And that's a multiplayer game from what I gather as well. It's like a co-op game. But yeah, to me, I'm like, that's brilliant. Like, especially seeing the tech demo, I was like, yes, yes. I still kind of do prefer Dying Light's charm, kind of like its weird saturation and kind of goofiness. I kind of still prefer that, but because I don't really like serious games a lot. I feel like serious games always have, it just makes it weird when there's a buggy thing that happens in them. Anyways, but yeah, so the Xbox had a Dying Light 2, and my most hyped one, which is Devil May Cry 5, I believe? 5, which is following Nero again, which is a huge risk because not a lot of people liked Nero. I love Nero though. I thought he was awesome. Although even on stream I was talking about like things where I was like worried because Nero to me was a really cool character because he was like a sprinkle of Dante in terms of his like arrogance a little bit, but he was the opposite in the sense that he was like blindly following his heart almost, but he was also really guarded, so he never really talked about it. I just really like the character, essentially. I just really like the character. He was also a powerhouse. I don't like that they chopped off the one aspect of him that made him cool, and they thought, hey, you know what's cooler than a demon arm? A robot arm. No, it's not. It's not cooler than a demon arm that glows. Some sort of weird combustible hand. Assholes. Anyways, moving on. There was 3 games that I walked away from Xbox being like, God damn. God damn. And there was 1 game that I walked away from Sony's being like, okay, you have done it. And the funny thing is it was the one that I was the least excited for going into Sony's press conference, which was Ghost of, I keep saying Ghost of Hiroshima, but I don't think that's correct. It's just Ghost. Let's call it Ghost. It's Sucker Punch's new game. Sucker Punch is the people that make Infamous, the Infamous Second Son games, or just Infamous, and there was one that was called Infamous Second Son. Anyways, love those guys, love those games. They have such a perfectly clean track record, and oh my god, Ghost of Hiroshima, or whatever it's called, Ghost. To me, it seems like where I would have wanted the Assassin's combat style to go. And like, I made a joke when we were watching the trailer just now, but I was watching and I was like, this like, samurai? Assassins trained from birth to be killers. Apparently, samurai are more assassin than assassins, and I was like, okay, sure, because this dude fucking like jumps down from the ceiling and like chain kills 7 people. The combat seems like it's that weighty combat where when you hit someone, you don't just see a number bounce off, instead you see them fucking drop to the ground and blood just psh, everywhere, and I'm like, yes, you're a fucking animal. This damn samurai with the stupid stereotypical circle hat. It looks stupid as fuck, but I'm still hyped. Also, the lighting looks fucking bonkers. The physics are insane. Rip your graphics card if you're gonna play this game. But damn, to me, I walked away being like, all right. Like, again, and that was the one that I was the least excited for. I was really excited for, I meant, you know, anything like Red Dead Redemption. I know that's Rockstar's thing, but even Days Gone. I want to see more of that game. And I feel like even like when it comes to the press conference aspect or side of things, I feel like Sony really dropped the ball on that because I think Spider-Man's like three months away, and they said it in the weird like inner monologue part, not like on stage talking about it, but like in like the enclave outside, they had a chat about it. basically, like, that would be something that you should say on stage. Hey, by the way, this game you're about to see is coming out in 3 months. Get hyped. You know, something like that. But they didn't do any of that. And again, what do you call it? Not to say that, like, Sony's conference was boring. A lot of their games are stunningly beautiful always. But that's kind of where I'm at. Is, like, I didn't see anything that I needed to see. You know, like, I know everything that Sony pretty much funds is fucking beautiful. I know that. I want to see how the game works, mechanically what it does, why I want to even play it. I can watch it. I know that's Sony, but what is it there for me to play? You know, and I feel like with Hideo Kojima's whatever his game is, I forgot what it's called. I'm brain dead because I've been streaming for 4 days straight. But I forget what his game is called. It was just kind of more questions, which I'm fine with. Like, from that specifically, I'm fine with that. But from Last of Us, again, I still don't know why I care about what's happening within the story, you know? And that was something I mentioned, is that I feel like when I was watching the Last of Us trailer, I'm a little bit worried for the whole reason why I think Last of Us was really heartwarming and kind and good was because it had a lot of those moments of, okay, well, here's this rugged survivalist kind of dead-end human, and here's this spark her name is Ellie, and she's this kind of like goofier, happier, more inquisitive person, and that kind of contrast let them both kind of shine at different times, and now that we see the, you know, Last of Us 2, Ellie just looks like a different kind of Joel. You know what I mean? Like a dead-end, serious, you know, going through depression kind of vibe. And I'm just sitting there like, well, where's our light? Where's our little spark? You know, where's our like, you know, hope for the future, which was what Ellie was. So I'm kind of just sitting there like, all right. I don't know. And it's weird because they showed her pregnant, but in this one she's not. So then it just asks questions. Does she get, like, what happens, more or less? And I don't know, man. Yeah. To me, I wanted to walk away from The Last of Us being like, okay, this is why I give a shit. Not, what? Okay. I mean, the transition was really cool. She fucking made out with that girl. Fucking do it. But that's it. I wasn't like, this looks like a story that I want to follow, or a game. It looked brutal. That's cool. That's cool, I guess. But I already kind of knew it was brutal. You know, like The Last of Us was fucking brutal. So that's kind of, again, for anyone who's excited about Last of Us, I'm not trying to take that from you. I'm just saying that I didn't really get what I needed out of it. And yeah. And then, so it goes Bethesda, Xbox, and then Sony. And then Ubisoft, which I was surprised at. This year, they didn't do a bad job. It just seemed like without Aisha Tyler there, who I feel like is a really good voice for, like, in between. Like, she makes it feel like it's a show rather than just like a meeting, I guess. She's like a very good speaker. She's very good at, like, holding herself and making the event feel. She's charismatic. That's the word I'm looking for. She's a very charismatic person, and I like to see her up there every year. And she wasn't there, and instead it was just transitioning between developers, and the camera got, like, glitchy, I guess, at one point, because they never zoomed into, like, full screen the beautiful concept art or whatever. It was always just a far back camera of ant people talking, which is fine, but I'm kind of like, come on, man, show me the game, especially when they were showing Beyond Good and Evil. But yeah, everything that they're, like, Ubisoft, again, their tech stuff sounds awesome. How, like, you're able to put something into some of their games that they're making. It's awesome. Some of the stuff that they're making is cool. The Assassin's Creed game. I talked about it so much on stream when it was happening. I was talking about a lot of it. But to me, I was sitting there like, come on, please have some more weighty combat. Because that was the thing that turned me off from Origins. Was I missed, again, I mentioned it, but to me there's something not fun about seeing an enemy that is my exact copy, more or less, maybe a little bit more buff, and then I drive my sword straight fucking through him, and I see a little damage number fall off of him, and his health bar is fine, and I'm kind of just like, so I'm an assassin, yeah? I'm an assassin, right? Really? And then people were like, yeah, but the old Assassin's Creed combat was shitty. All you did was hit this button to parry someone. And to me, I'm like, dude, I've seen endgame Assassin's Creed Origin content which, unless you're fighting goddamn Anubis, the god or the boss in a special event, you're most likely what you're doing is you're rolling all the time, just like Dark Souls, except Dark Souls has like your hits hit, you know what I mean? Like Dark Souls doesn't have this problem because when you impact on something in Dark Souls, unless it's a fucking boss, it feels it. It turns over in pain. So to me, in the AC world, it doesn't exactly work. So yeah, in Origins, I've seen a lot of people basically, like the combat devolves into you rolling around, circling around someone 100 times, or just doing your heavy attack, wallop, getting distance, doing your heavy attack, wallop. Like that's all the combat turned into. So for people that were like, fucking this changes the game, this is now a complex combat system, I'm just like, you can have it. You can have it. Ghosts of Hiroshima, or whatever it's called. I'm looking at you for my Assassin's Creed brutality fix. Because don't you guys remember that? In Assassin's Creed 2, when you were playing Ezio, and you were just ripping shit up with your dual blades, and blood was all over your perfectly white cape or whatever, and you were like able to rob somebody's weapon and fucking embed an axe in another person's head, and then you were able to perfect parry someone, stab your dual blades into their neck, and then aim your explosive hand cannon gun gauntlet at someone's head, take them out, and just keep bulldozing after, like, one after the other after the other. That to me was like Assassin's Creed combat, you know, like you, and I wish they would elaborate on that, you know. I don't think that they should have made enemies have more health because you have to find more loot. It's not that I don't like loot in Assassin's Creed games. I think that's fine, but to me, it's the fact that, like, it's like God of War. That's a good example. Where, like, at least in God of War, you can still take down a purple enemy. You know what I mean? Even if they're like 7 tiers higher than you can still do it because you're the fucking God of War. You know what I mean? Like, they're never like, little bitch. You know, you still have the ability, and their combat system is intricate enough to where you can succeed in that. You can roll away, you can dodge, you can do all these things. Whereas I've seen so many videos in Assassin's Creed where if you go up against anyone who's 5 levels below you, you're fucked. You are fucked, my dude. You are immediately killed. And I'm like, again, it creates that feeling of like, I'm an assassin? Am I? Because fucking what? Like, Jesus. Anyway, so I feel like I'm excited. Again, that was just my kind of rant on why I didn't really like or why I didn't really play that game. Why I hope at some point some other company puts the meat back in like Assassin's Creed, like the wallops, the feeling of power, not the feeling of an enemy that's over leveled for you and you're fucked any way you shake it, you know. And I get why, you know, like if you were to invest in like side quests and you were to get the right loot, I'm sure you'd be able to deal enough damage to make it feel like somewhat of an Assassin's Creed game again. But even still, the combat seems so much like Dark Souls to me, which again, the whole reason why Dark Souls works is because they just enhance the damage. They don't enhance the health necessarily, at least from what I see. Also, FromSoft's game looks fucking cool. It's like a very movement, let's say that, movement-driven kind of Dark Souls take on like rural Japan shit. It looks real cool. Oh, Fallout 76, fucking mad hyped about that. I wouldn't do it justice. Again, I would definitely go watch Todd Howard's press conference. The only thing that I am worried about, genuinely about that specifically, is he said that we don't want to incentivize griefing, or we don't want griefing, or we don't want that much griefing. It said something along the lines of that when someone was interviewing him, and I was like, so that means you want some griefing. So that means you won't. It seems like you're pretty dead set on that not being okay. You know what I mean? Like if I were to just be like, I just want to play a Fallout game. I want to mess around. I want to level up my character. I want to build his kit, maybe make a melee only, roleplay to a certain degree, make sure I use RPG mechanics, stuff like that. If I just want that from the from Fallout 76, it seems like I'm gonna be a little bit chapped by it. Like it seems like you're not gonna have it necessarily, and to me, it's the exact reason why I don't play games like Rust and etc. Where like I'm fine, like I want to survive with another person, but I don't want to survive in a world where some asshole is most likely hacking and is gonna fucking take my head off with some sort of weird modded weapon. And you know, or just kill me when I'm just like, oh, I'm gathering wood, having such a fun time in my own experience, in my own little world, and then fucking get just shit on, shit on by some random asshole, and I'm like, great. This is what I wanted from Fallout. I didn't want to co-op and survive with my buddy. No, I wanted to get sniped from halfway across the map. Go team. Go team. So we'll have to wait and see more about the future, whether if they change something, if they keep it in a way that's palatable. Because yeah, that's the only thing that I've seen that I'm still worried about. And I was hoping that Todd would be like, hey, you know when I said you could play the whole game by yourself? You can. Not like, hey, you kinda can. You kinda may get griefed at some point. Because also he had this whole bit where he's like, everyone in the world's a real person, and I'm like, oh no. How does the quest system work, you know? Like, I'm like, oh shit. And apparently you probably get a lot of them from your vaults, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm hopeful, I'm excited, I'm amped, I am questionably optimistic. I can't speak real well because I've been speaking for 4 days straight. So the game, like, okay, so the games, oh, also EA, Anthem, cool, just Anthem really, but cool. So the games I'm walking away from being like, oh my fucking god, hype, Devil May Cry, that game I can't remember, Dying Light, Fallout 76, Ghosts of whatever it's called. Maybe Assassin's Creed Exodus, because there was aspects of it that did look cool, like the powers, which I always was hoping that the Assassin's Creed would eventually attain, like powers of Eden, which looks like this one does have. Also, I like Greek. It's a fucked up thing is that I also like Egypt. Like, I love Egypt lore and Greek mythology and stuff like that. So it sucks that those games had to be the ones that they decided to take this weird gameplay spin on it. Anyways, anyway. Also, the character looks more charming in the Exodus than in Egypt guy, Bayek. Bayek seemed like he's a rage monster like Connor, and what's his name seems like Ezio, the random Spartan that we're gonna be fighting or playing. Anyways, what was the other one? I missed a couple probably. Me and editing. You got me, fam. Okay, let's stop. I've been talking for such a long time, guys. I've been playing so much, or just like hanging out, listening, but this goddamn light's been beating me in my goddamn face, and you guys were just great, honestly. You guys were sitting there in the chatting with me, getting hyped about E3. I'll definitely make this a reoccurring thing next year. We'll go ahead and stream E3 as well. Hopefully you guys will be as into it as you were this year, because it was awesome hanging out with you guys, hearing you guys' thoughts on everything. Again, I don't think Sony had a bad conference. I just don't think it was, again, like, everyone used to say this beforehand in defense of Sony, but Sony brought the games, people used to say. Sony didn't deliver, you know, whatever. They brought games. Well, this year, fucking Bethesda brought games, and Sony brought 4, you know, or 4 or 5, you know. So I don't know. Again, I don't mean to, like, that seems like I'm stoking the console war fire. It just personally what I take away from it. And again, if you had more vested interest in Spider-Man and Last of Us, then yes, Sony of course won for you. But for me, again, I really liked seeing Dying Light in the way that it was shown, and seeing Devil May Cry. Those are the games that I've been wanting sequels for forever. So that also would determine like what you enjoy, you know, that would make that conference better for you. Also, Anthem looks awesome, but everything needs to, it's so far away. It's so fucking far away. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, my name is Logan Endo Frost. Subscribe button above me, 2 videos to my right. I'm so goddamn tired, and I'm gonna go exercise right now. Go team. Thank you guys for hanging out, and goodbye.